Raymond retired at 67. 41 years as a commercial real estate appraiser in Cincinnati, Ohio. He had a traditional IRA worth $420,000, a paid-off home, and one daughter named Jennifer, who lived 2 hours away in Columbus. In 1998, when he first opened that IRA, he filled out the beneficiary form the way most people do. He wrote Jennifer's name on the primary line, he left the contingent line blank, and he never looked at that form again. Raymond is 71 now. Jennifer died of a sudden heart attack last year at 43. Raymond has been grieving, and he has not updated his paperwork. And his two grandchildren, aged 22 and 24, are about to inherit a $420,000 IRA the worst possible way. Raymond is not unusual. He is what happens when a retiree treats the beneficiary form on a retirement account as ordinary paperwork. Before I walk you through what went wrong and how to fix it on your own accounts today, one important note. This video is for educational purposes only and is not tax or financial advice. Consult a qualified tax professional before making any decisions about your specific situation. Here is why this matters so much right now. The rules around inherited retirement accounts changed permanently under the Secure Act of late 2019 and Secure Act 2.0 of 2022. The final IRS regulations confirming how those changes apply were not issued until July of 2024, and most retirees have never heard the new framework explained clearly. My name is Kevin Retires. Every week, I break down the tax rules, the financial traps, and the strategies that protect retirees from the things nobody else is explaining. If that sounds like something you need, hit the subscribe button right now and turn on notifications so you never miss a video. Today, I'm going to walk you through exactly what is happening inside a typical IRA beneficiary form that nobody catches until it is too late. I'm going to show you the 5 failure points that convert a designated beneficiary IRA into an estate asset subject to accelerated taxation. I'm going to explain what the Secure Act actually did to inherited IRAs and what the final IRS regulations of July 2024 require from every beneficiary over the next 10 years. And I am going to give you the exact checklist to run on every one of your retirement accounts this week. Most of you watching have at least one error on your beneficiary forms right now. By the end of this video, you will know which one and what to do about it. Now here is what I could not fit into this video. There are 3 specific scenarios I walk through step by step in the full retirement tax documentation. 3 worked examples that most retirees never see, because they require the kind of detailed calculation that does not work in video form. The first is the per stirps versus per capita calculation. A full walkthrough showing how a $420,000 IRA splits 4 different ways based on 2 words of language in a beneficiary form. The second is the see through trust decision matrix. When naming a trust preserves the 10-year rule for your heirs, when it triggers the 5-year rule instead, and the complete sample language most estate attorneys are not using correctly. The third is the eligible designated beneficiary comparison, the 4 categories that still receive favorable stretch treatment under current law, with a 20-year tax projection for each category against a standard 10-year beneficiary. All 3 are in the retirement tax research. The link is in the description, first link, right at the top. If you're serious about not making the mistakes I'm about to describe in this video, that documentation is where the full numbers live. Let me get back to it. Mistake number 1. The primary beneficiary dies before you do, and you never named a contingent. This is Raymond's situation exactly. The moment Jennifer died, Raymond's IRA effectively had no designated beneficiary left. When Raymond passes, the $420,000 flows to his estate by default. Here's the part nobody explains clearly. When an IRA passes through an estate, the IRS does not treat the estate as a designated beneficiary. That matters because designated beneficiary status is what unlocks the 10-year rule for your heirs under the Secure Act. Without it, they get the 5-year rule if you died before your required beginning date of age 73, or a compressed ghost life expectancy distribution if you died after it. For Raymond's grandchildren, that means emptying a $420,000 traditional IRA in 5 calendar years instead of 10, roughly doubling the annual federal tax bite. If Raymond had simply named his grandchildren directly as contingent beneficiaries on one line, the same account would have stretched across 10 years cleanly. If this video is helping you see something that was invisible to you before today, something nobody else has explained this clearly, hit the like button right now. It tells YouTube to show this to more retirees who need to see it. If you haven't subscribed yet, do it now and turn on the bell. Mistake number 2. You named your estate directly as the beneficiary of your IRA. Some retirees do this on purpose, thinking it keeps things simple. Some do it because a custodian representative on a phone call years ago told them it was fine. It is not fine. Naming your estate as beneficiary strips away designated beneficiary status automatically and permanently. There's no 10-year rule. There's no spouse rollover. There is no stretch option of any kind. The IRA becomes an estate asset subject to probate in your state, which means attorney fees of 2 to 6% of the estate value, public record of every dollar you held, and either the 5-year rule or the ghost life expectancy rule. Walk into any estate planning attorney's office and ask how many retirees they see every year with an estate named as IRA beneficiary. They will tell you it is the single most common expensive mistake they correct. Mistake number 3. You named a trust as your beneficiary, but the trust is not a qualified see-through trust. This one is subtle, and it traps sophisticated retirees more than anyone. Naming a trust as an IRA beneficiary can be a brilliant strategy. It can also destroy your beneficiary's tax planning completely. The difference comes down to whether the trust qualifies as a see-through trust under Treasury Regulation 1.401-9-4. The trust has to meet 4 specific requirements. It has to be valid under state law. It has to be irrevocable at your death. The beneficiaries have to be identifiable from the trust document. And a copy of the trust has to be provided to the IRA custodian by October 31st of the year following your death. If even one of those requirements fails, the trust is disregarded for designated beneficiary purposes, the estate is treated as the beneficiary, and the 5-year rule or ghost life expectancy rule kicks in. I have watched families lose over $100,000 in compressed federal taxes because an estate attorney drafted the trust with language that was not IRA qualified, and nobody caught it until after the account owner had passed. Mistake number 4. You named a minor grandchild directly on the beneficiary form without building a custodial structure around it. If you have grandchildren under age 18 and you list them directly as beneficiaries, you have created a legal problem the moment you pass. A minor cannot legally hold or manage an inherited IRA. Depending on your state, that means either a court-supervised guardianship must be established at a cost of $2,000 to $10,000 in legal fees, or the IRA is placed into a custodial account under the Uniform Transfers to Minors Act. If it is a UTMA account, the minor gains full unrestricted access to the entire inherited IRA the moment they reach the age of majority, which is 18 in most states and 21 in a few. Most retirees do not actually want an 18-year-old grandchild to inherit a $300,000 retirement account with no supervision. The solution is to name a properly drafted see-through trust for the benefit of the minor, with a trustee you select personally. But we are back to mistake number 3. The trust has to be qualified. Mistake number 5. You never updated the form after a major life change, divorce, remarriage, a named beneficiary's death, a new grandchild, a child's addiction or legal trouble. Most retirees have beneficiary forms that were completed 10, 20, even 30 years ago and never revisited since. I have personally seen forms that still list an ex-spouse as primary beneficiary 4 decades after the divorce was final. I have seen forms where the named beneficiary died in 1997. Here is what most retirees do not know. Some states have automatic revocation laws that strip an ex-spouse off a beneficiary form after divorce. Some states do not. If you live in a state without automatic revocation, your ex-spouse could legally inherit your IRA. And under federal law, the beneficiary form almost always wins against whatever your will or your trust says. Now, let me make this concrete with 2 retirees I want you to picture side by side. Barbara is 68, $500,000 in a traditional IRA, married to John with 2 adult children aged 42 and 38. Her beneficiary form lists John as primary with 100% allocation. Her contingent beneficiaries are the 2 children at 50% each with per stirpes language. That means each child's share passes to that child's own descendants if the child predeceases Barbara. Her forms are reviewed every January without fail. Now meet Patricia. Same age, same $500,000 traditional IRA, also married with 2 adult children. But Patricia's beneficiary form was last updated in 1996. It lists her husband at 50% primary and her oldest daughter at the other 50% primary. There is no contingent line filled out. There is no per stirpes language. And the form still lists the maiden name of a daughter who has been legally married for 22 years under a different last name. Barbara passes away first. John rolls her IRA into his own account as the surviving spouse cleanly, the way federal law allows. The 10-year rule never triggers because John is a spouse. Years later, John passes, and the children inherit their stretched share through a clean 10-year window. Total federal tax paid across the entire family, roughly $74,000. Patricia passes away the same week as Barbara. Because her form splits the IRA 50-50 between her husband and her daughter as co-primary beneficiaries, her husband cannot roll over the entire account. Only half of it. The daughter's half has to be established as an inherited IRA subject to the 10-year rule. And because of the mismatched maiden name on the form, the custodian's legal department flags the account and freezes distributions for 4 months. When everything is finally settled, Patricia's family has paid $141,000 in federal taxes on the same $500,000 IRA. $67,000 of additional tax, entirely because of 2 words of missing language and 1 outdated line on a form that was not reviewed for 3 decades. Here's your action checklist. 7 steps, starting this week. Step 1. Pull a copy of the beneficiary designation form for every single retirement account you own. Traditional IRA, Roth IRA, 401k, 403b, 457 plan, thrift savings plan, annuity contracts. Each account has its own separate form. If you do not have a copy, call the custodian today and request one in writing. Step 2. Confirm that every primary and contingent beneficiary has a current legal name, current social security number on file, and current date of birth. Nicknames and maiden names cause delays. Step 3. Confirm every account has at least 1 contingent beneficiary listed. Not 0, at least 1. A blank contingent line is a ticking clock that only goes off after you're gone. Step 4. Look for the per stirpes or by representation language on your form. If your form does not include it, your custodian usually has a separate box to check or a separate short form to sign. Without that language, if a named beneficiary dies before you, their share defaults upward to the surviving primary beneficiaries instead of passing down to that beneficiary's own children. Step 5. If you have a trust listed as a beneficiary, pull the actual trust document and verify with your estate attorney that it qualifies as a C through trust under Treasury Regulation 1.401A9-4. Step 6. If you have minor grandchildren who might inherit, build a structure now. Either a custodial UTME with a trusted adult as custodian, or a see-through trust drafted by an attorney who has specifically done IRA qualified trust language before. Step 7. Set a recurring calendar alert every January 1st to review every beneficiary form across every account. Not every 5 years. Not when you happen to remember. Every January, without exception. Drop a comment and tell me, when was the last time you actually pulled out and reviewed your IRA beneficiary form? Was it this decade? Was it this century? I read every single one, and the most common situations become future videos. Before I wrap up, one last thing to sit with. The beneficiary form is the most powerful estate document you own because it is the one the custodian is legally required to honor first, before your will, before your trust, before any verbal promise you made to a child or a grandchild. If there is one 60-minute task you do this year that protects more wealth than any other, it is pulling every form out and reading each one slowly, line by line, with your spouse or a trusted advisor in the room. It is not complicated work. It is just neglected work. Raymond, by the way, is fictional in name but entirely real in situation. I have watched that exact scenario play out 3 times in the last year alone with 3 different families in 3 different states. Each of those grandchildren families paid somewhere between $40,000 and $110,000 in avoidable federal taxes because of one blank line on a form that nobody had reviewed in 20 years. This is Kevin Retires. If this video helped you, hit the like button right now. It takes 1 second and it helps this video reach more retirees who need to hear it. If you are not subscribed yet, hit subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss the next one. And if you know someone who has a traditional IRA, a Roth IRA, or a 401k they have not thought about in years, send them this video today. The difference between a current beneficiary form and an outdated one could be $75,000 or more to the people they love. I'll see you in the next one.